Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. Today's January 23rd. At some point on Monday, the day we're releasing this, so today I guess, the MLBPA is presenting their counter offer to the owners. I highly doubt anything gets signed in this meeting, but please be something productive. We have a lot to get into today, despite the fact that we can't predict the future even 24 hours. Baseball America has released their top 100 prospects list, which is stuck behind a paywall, of course. But we're going to get into what we do know, thanks to the wonderful people who have that in their budget. And the international signing period is open for this year. So we're going to get into these young players tonight. Keep listening for this. We have some nuggets for you at this time that we think they're going to be funny for those of you who tune into a Pirates podcast in January. I think that you will think they're funny too. My name is Josh. I'm joined always by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
Hey, how we doing, man? I tell you what, January in this part of the country can suck. I'm tired of this cold and the snow and geez.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
I'm over it. For me, it's mostly even cold, but also like I don't drive in the snow. I'm just like, you know what? It's just not worth it. And I work from home. Like everything's in town for us. We don't have to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just don't.
For me, it's not, I don't mind driving in it. I just don't like it in general. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
I went out.
My wife asked me the other day, she goes, "You want to go outside and play in the snow with me?" I said, "No." No. She went out, she fell backwards into the snow, made a snow angel and whatnot. And I just shined a flashlight on her and laughed.
At night.
Yeah, it was like 8:30 at night. She's outside playing in the snow.
No, that's double no.
No.
Now I'm going to nope right out of that situation.
I took a couple pictures of it, so.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I hate cleaning off cars. I hate cleaning off the sidewalk. I had all this energy last Monday, and I'm trying to think. That's when we got all the snow, right? It was, right before Monday.
Sunday night into Monday.
Sunday, I was out of it. I think I even said last week, if I said last week, that I slept like a ton of hours that day, just like for whatever reason. It was just wiped out. And then come Monday, I was out there shoveling, came inside, couldn't warm up. Turns out the next 3 days, I slept and I worked for like 3 hours on Tuesday and was like, I can't do this. I had this massive headache. It's like, we were like, dang it, I could be sick. You know what I mean? So we laid low and, whatever. And dude, it was nasty, but good now. Good for some days now, but.
Good to hear.
It's the snow. I swear to you, I got sick from shoveling. That's all it was.
I'm not allowed to shovel snow anymore. Wife says it's the leading cause of heart attacks and like random at-home jobs, so she won't let me shovel snow anymore.
I believe that, yeah. I believe that. It's awful. I have like they call it a snow thrower. It's not like a full-on snow blower, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway. Yeah. So players are supposed to present their counteroffer tomorrow or today. For those who are listening, it's Monday, right? We release it on Monday. Yeah. So today, at some point today, they're going to release their counteroffer. And, of course, all these things happen right after we release our episode. So, like, we could have just talked about this, but we're going to have to wait a week.
Yeah.
So let all the information leak out before we say anything. But, man, for me, I just hope it's productive.
Yeah.
If they come out with like a minor adjustment and they're still solar systems away or whatever, that to me is going to be the biggest red flag of all of them.
Yeah, you got to make progress. Each one of these meetings, there has to be a little bit of progress made, or we're talking about moving opening day, we're talking about moving all this stuff out.
Spring training, right? I mean, they're not going to sign anything tomorrow.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way they come back with something that the owners are okay with. And I don't expect that. If that happens, holy cow! But there's no way. There's just no way they would budge that far.
The good thing about this one is it's going to be the first time that they're talking CBA talks in person. Every other time it's been virtual.
Even this last one?
Yes, they're getting together in person this time.
Okay.
And everything I've seen like on MLB Network and that is, it's the first time they're getting together face to face.
Okay.
Because they said that's a big deal because you make a deal face to face.
Yeah. You absolutely
You can make a lot more progress.
Well, not only that, but I mean, everybody knows how big they feel when they're not face to face with someone, or how like less. There's something to be said about making eye contact with somebody and saying like, "Man, if I'm going to work this out with you, I have to work with you." You know what I mean, kind of a thing. And I think there is something to be said about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll talk about it next week. As of now, so first kind of, oh, you know what? So for those of you who do not watch the YouTube, I have these little things that say like what we're talking about at the bottom. And like, I just didn't flip to that. So I flipped to it. There we go. We talked about it. So anyway, Baseball America released their list of top 100 prospects at this point. They do this periodically throughout the year, but this is kind of like the preseason, kind of the big one that is used throughout the year, I think, for the most part. Pirates have 6 players in the top 100. And I think you said the Diamondbacks, right, are the only other team.
Diamondbacks have, yep.
Only other team with 6 players on the list. And I got to say, like, there's been a lot of times in the past, we've liked our minor league system, even the last, couple of years through all these changes. We've said, they're making good moves. And then you look at the top 100 and you're like, but we're not represented really well here. We've got a lot of names, but we're not represented really well in that top 100. It's good to see like a representation of 6 guys in that top 100. Still no top 10, only 1 guy in the top 40. So you wonder like where that is. But like but you have Henry Davis at 41 and Nick Gonzalez at 49. Those guys were drafted in 2020 and 2021. They're making their way into that.
Sure.
Into that top, list there. So that's how it works. You got to show it for, some years to get into those top spots.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I still think that I think I think they are a little low on even Nick Gonzalez.
Okay.
He's a little bit older. He's done it in college. I think that means something. I think he should be higher than 49. I think he should be in the 30s at least.
Okay. Obviously, I don't know all of the players who are ahead of him. So
I don't either. So I mean, I guess.
But what you're saying is you think Nick Gonzalez should be above Henry Davis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay. So that's where so anyway, the list is of our guys. The list is Oneil Cruz at number 14, Henry Davis at number 41, Nick Gonzalez at number 49, Leover Peguero at 78, Ronzi Contreras at 80, and Quinn Priester at 88, which, by the way, Quinn Priester dropped, 38 spots from September's list? So that's really interesting. From September's list?
Right.
What did you do between September and now to drop that many? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's actually interesting.
There wasn't 38 people that just moved in.
And it wasn't it wasn't from the draft or anything. Like, how do you drop 38 spots after the season when you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you made a ranking list in September. Quinn Priester probably didn't play any games after that, or very few.
Right.
And yet you dropped him 38 spots on this list. Who could possibly move into that list? what 38 people could move into that list to bump him down that far is a really interesting thing. I don't know how they get into that room and do that, but that is very interesting. And this is like Baseball America. Both of those lists are Baseball America.
Yeah.
Which, to differentiate, there is a Baseball America Top 100 and an MLB Pipeline Top 100, and we usually use the MLB Pipeline because it's accessible, where Baseball America is behind a paywall. Now, Baseball America's lists do get leaked eventually. You know who's on the list, but there's still. But I think that a lot of people would trust the Baseball America list more because there's no MLB's putting the pipeline one together, and is there some sort of, conspiracy behind some guys that they don't move up into certain places? Is there a motive for doing? I don't know any of that stuff, but also that people just think that Baseball America does a better job of, I don't know, projecting talent or even just analyzing it. So whatever reason, whatever one. To me, I don't care. I think it gives you an idea. If you're number 14 on one list and number 10 on the other, guess what? He's good. If you're in the top 50, he's really good. And that's one thing I want to watch for, because there's some guys that aren't on this list that we may be thinking like, hey, well, what about this guy? You know what I mean? I think ours is, since we got 6 of them in there, pretty well represented. It's hard to say why isn't so-and-so in. But even to say like, oh, Quinn Priester's number 88, what happened there? I thought he was going to be really good. No. Let's not get it twisted. He's in the top 100.
Yeah, there's
He's
a lot
really
of prospects.
Good. Everybody on this list is really good. But anyway, and it doesn't always necessarily mean that they're going to move into the majors and still be really good. This is still just a prospect list, right?
Right.
But it's a pretty good indication that these guys, they look the part and they're doing it, at least at their, at the level that they're at right now. So,
yeah,
I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good list. When's the last time the Pirates had 6 guys in the top 100? It has happened. I think Polanco was there. I'm trying to think of the year. Polanco, it was all those guys. Polanco, Tyone, Glasnow, Meadows, Nick Kingham, Alan Hansen, Reese McGuire.
So you're probably looking at 2009-ish, 2010.
Yeah, maybe more recent than that even. Like it was right before Polanco came up. And he came up in 2015? 2014, 2015. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
It was somewhere in that range when all those guys all of a sudden started popping in. And all those guys, all 6 of those guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those guys who were in the top 100 that year have made it to the major leagues, no matter where they were on that list. Yeah. Now, Alan Hansen, who would have probably been near the back end of that, and Reese McGuire near the back end of that, they've been there, and they've had their moments. Alan Hansen had a nice little run with the White Sox, I think, for a minute, or the Giants. I know he played for both of those, but I think he was pretty decent for the White Sox for a minute. And Reese McGuire has shown up a bit for the Blue Jays. Nick Kingham had the great start, and then we know there, and I think he's in Korea now. But Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, we don't have to talk about these guys. Jameson Tyone, Gregory Polanco. You know what I'm saying? They've all had their moments to shine. I think the best of the group, I still think, is Tyone. But Meadows could still be a great player in the league. I know that he's had his struggles in different areas of his game, but still,
he kind of got injured or whatever, and then got slotted into that DH role, and he hasn't really been able to
Yeah, and I
get
think
out of
they've
the
kind of
DH
not
role.
played him against lefties and things like that. He just feels like
Yeah.
he's not, but he's still, I mean, the numbers, I mean, he hit 30 homers one year. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like for him, that's going to come back and he can end up being, a productive player, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
to be a star, I mean, not a productive player, I think.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the idea is to, now that we've got these guys, it's time for this development team to be better than they were with even that group.
Yeah.
I think Tyone, I know that's injury related. Glass now, I think, should have been more. You know what I mean? Could have been more. I think there are a lot of parts of his game that could have improved. Meadows, I think, was probably the cream of this crop as far as like when he came up and when he was. I mean, I think that he was primed to be really good, and maybe there was areas, but Polanco, same thing. I think the injuries, but Polanco's injuries were all after he got here.
Yeah.
Like the ones that really messed with his performance, but development at this point, it's now this is the part that we're supposed to be good at.
Right. Hansen got a cup of coffee with us and McGuire a cup of coffee, and that was it.
Did McGuire get a cup of coffee with the Pirates before he?
You know what? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. He was part of the Liriano going to Toronto deal.
Mm-hmm.
Him and what's his name that was playing with Cleveland last year and just signed with somebody else.
Is it Luplo?
No. No, Luplo went to Cleveland. Harold Ramirez.
Oh.
I think he was with Reese McGuire in that trade. I think. Now you got me questioning it. And so I'm not really sure.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Liriano, who just retired, that we just, just said.
Yep.
So that's correct. Did we just talked about that, right? Last week we talked about that.
No, he retired between episodes.
Did he? Okay, well, hey, guys, Frankie retired. Man, I thought we talked about it. Yeah, it was Reese McGuire and Harold Ramirez to the Blue Jays for Drew Hutchison. What in the world were we doing? Oh, my gosh. And then he was turned to the Astros for Teoscar Hernandez, and look at that.
Jeez.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Do you know he was traded by the Twins? Liriano's been in some deals.
Mm-hmm.
Liriano was originally signed by the Giants and was dealt to the Twins with Boof Bonser and Joe Nathan for A.J. Przinsky. So Joe Nathan and Liriano for Przinsky, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And then the Twins, when they traded him to the White Sox, they got Eduardo Escobar, who was, you know what I mean, just killing it with the Diamondbacks and went to the Brewers. And then I think he just signed with the Mets. But, like, that's a big name in there, too. Anyway, Liriano. Hanging it up. Well done, sir. Thank you for the wild card game and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He was my favorite pitcher on that staff. We talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our rabbit trail from Reese McGuire
to Frankie's retirement.
And actually,
but I agree with you on the development. This development team now's the time to show up and develop these prospects, and let's not let Quinn Priester slip down even further. Let's get him back up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's even if he doesn't get back up there, I think he's still in line to be a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
Top 100. You know what I mean? Just
Kudos,
get in there.
Kudos on getting Runzi up there, though. I mean,
and I think that's a big
strides
thing.
last year.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the top 100 and then jumped in. So, I mean, let's let that be said, though. It was 5 players. You know what I mean? Like, we just moved our 6 player into it.
Yeah.
So, looking good. Now we got to get, Oneil Cruz. You got to play shortstop. Opening day? No. It's just not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen.
Unless something comes up with the CBA that there's no reason not to, then there's a chance. If he shows up and balls out in spring training, I don't know.
I don't think either.
I don't think, but
it would have to be that no one else in that middle infield is going to push, because the only way you do that, I mean, and I'm just saying this, I don't see Kevin Newman not being in the lineup. So if he plays, that means Newman's at second, which means that none of those other guys could have taken second base, and they were like, we got to do something. Although I just don't think that they're thinking that they got to do something. I don't think that.
If Newman's not in our starting lineup, we deal him.
I mean, that's a fair statement. I wouldn't argue that. But the idea to me, what I'm saying is, I don't think that there's even a position that they could possibly be in where they would feel like they have to play him, because they, quote unquote, don't have another option. Because I'm telling you, they'll play Newman at short and they'll play Tucker at second. And if he's not doing well, they'll still give him a shot. And if it's not him, it's Chavis. If it's not him, it's Park. If it's not him, there's just so many guys that I feel like they're going to say, no, why not? When you say like, yeah, but none of those guys are hit. If none of those guys are hitting, and Cruz is, the only way I say, well, we got to do something. We can't play these guys at second if we're going to go out and compete. They're not going to go out and compete. They don't plan on it. They've shown us that. By the way, is that considered tanking?
I mean, if you got a guy who's major league ready, if you think Oneil Cruz is major league ready and you're not planning because you're not planning on competing, yeah, I would consider that tanking.
And that's part of all these talks, is they're saying that teams are tanking. So
it's not right.
But if you're talking about development and you say Oneil Cruz is not ready, even though he's looking like it in spring, if you say, but he hasn't played in AAA and our development plan says that we want them to get so many games in AAA before they come up, if it's in their plan, do you derail your plan and say, yeah, but he's ready, we're going to play him?
Yep.
You do.
I do.
Would. I would. I don't care about that.
A development plan goes person by person, not organization by organization.
Right. So here's the fear, because this is what a lot of people are. You want him to play every day.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to, if he starts struggling to the point where he's not getting it done, you got to send him down. And that is a big fear these days, where once they bring a guy up, they don't want to send him back. Right? So to me, it's the conversation. Hey, we think that you can do this. If you struggle, understand you're going back. We want you to work it through it in AAA. Or do you just say, nah, work through your problems? Because the problem with that is you run into guys like Cole Tucker who can't work through their problems at that level.
Cole Tucker was also rushed.
He was.
I don't think he was.
I agree with that.
I don't think his development plan was well developed.
No, certainly not, and we know that. That's.
But if Cruz comes out, I'm just going to throw
a
couple
rushed?
Numbers. No, isn't he like 24 years old?
I don't age doesn't play into it for me. It really doesn't.
It does for me. Like to
me,
a point, it does.
He's an international guy, so obviously him and Cole Tucker are on completely different wavelengths. And Cole Tucker is a high school player, so he's on a different wavelength than a guy like Nick Gonzalez. So like all of those things are completely different. And I just don't know. I don't know. I think a guy, he's either there or he's not as far as like his development. He's
Mm-hmm.
either there or he's not. And I don't care about how old you are. I just, to me, it doesn't, age does not say, well, he's 23, he ought to be there. But a college player sometimes is 23 when they get drafted. They're not ready just because they're 23.
Right.
So
but
if you
they're
get drafted out of
automatically
college,
on the fast track.
they're on the fast track, but you still might not be making your debut till 25, 26, which is still acceptable for a rookie to be that age. Even though there's also guys that get drafted out of high school like Ken Griffey Jr., Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, that are like, hey, 19, they're ready to go. Or international guys who get signed at 16 who then end up like 19 years old, 3 years in, they're ready to make their show debut because they've had their, you know what I'm saying? Like some guys are, and some guys physically age sooner.
Yeah.
You know, like we're going to talk about one of these guys who's enormous that we just signed. You know what I mean? And so like, you know.
I'm just saying if Oneil Cruz comes out in spring training, and I'm just going to throw a couple numbers out here, and let's say he's, you know, he comes out and bats 350 with an on base of like 450, and he hits 6 home runs in the spring, he's starting shortstop on my team.
Kevin Newman led spring training batting averages last year, right?
That's fine, but he also didn't hit a bunch of homers.
Right. Yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
But who started shortstop for us?
Kevin Newman.
Did
it work out?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. So you're okay, but you're just saying that's
I'm just saying if he comes out and puts like absurd numbers like that out, you can't ignore him.
My thought process on that, and this is the last thing because we want to move on to the next thing, but my thought process on that is that unless this is my initial thought process, unless somebody who's supposed to be playing second, who's in that group of guys competing for second base, unless all of those guys are bad, because if any of those guys are good enough, like if Michael Chavis comes out and also surprises you, Kevin Newman's playing shortstop. I think it's just the way it's going to be. You know that. Regardless of whether or not we would make that decision, you know he's playing shortstop. And if he's not playing short, he's playing second. Which means that none of those guys who are up for that second base position, who, if you ask me if I'm going to be playing and say, I'm not watching any spring training games, opening day is going to be Cole Tucker at second base and Kevin Newman at short, regardless of how people perform.
So you think Cole Tucker's got the second base job?
I think he will get it because I don't know that anyone else is going to take it. And if no one takes these jobs, those are the two that will get those jobs.
Okay. I got you.
On opening day. And I think that there's going to be a clear plan for other guys to play second base as well.
Yeah.
But I think that as we see it, I think those are going to be the guys that are in the positions, and that's what we're going to be looking at, and we're all going to say, "Oh, jeez." And
fair.
you know what I mean? Regardless of whether that means Cole Tucker actually goes out and hits, which is possible too.
Mm-hmm.
And he earns second base, or if no one does anything and Oneil Cruz hits 250 with 6 home runs, right? Or Oneil Cruz hits, but what if he throws 8 of them into the stands?
Yeah.
He's not going to play short.
Right.
And I don't think that you're ever going to let Oneil Cruz DH if that comes into the game. I don't think he makes his debut DHing, because if so, he's a DH forever. And I don't think they want to do that. Maybe they do. Maybe it wouldn't be bad, but I think that they're going to, if he's there, they plan on him playing short.
Yeah.
And the problem is if it's throws that are the problem, they'll work it out. Because if he's still fielding the position, then he's still fielding the position.
Yep.
And the Pirates don't care about longevity. They're not going to keep him forever anyway.
This is
But
true.
I agree with what you're saying is no. Let these guys play it out and go with your two best guys at these positions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying but I don't think that's what they'll do.
I don't either. I'm just, yeah.
Ah. Are we going to try to win more games or not? I don't think that we're still going. I don't think we're competing with the roster that we have for the playoffs. But are we still going to try to win as many games as this group of individuals are capable of winning?
Right.
And also remember, somebody's got to go from this 40-man roster because we've got to find a way for a catcher to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's gone. Tell me it's not going to be from that middle infield group if somebody doesn't show up. It might be. Easily might be. Also could be a pitcher. All right, well, we're halfway through here. Let's take a break, come back and talk about international signings. Good?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Guys, thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. You can check us out on all the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Bridge, the number 2 Buctober. Likes, follows, those things. Also, remember, we're on the video now on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube, Bridge to Buctober. Subscribe, like, comment, all those things. Thanks, guys. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Bridge to Buctober podcast. I got a little stumbled over my words there. It was like crap. I'm running like. All right, we want to get into these international signings and all that stuff. I was like, oh wait, I have to say something. So you brought up in an earlier episode, like last week or the week before, whatever, the Pirates were favorites to land either Jordani or Tony Blanco. It turns out they did, both of those guys. So this is kind of the big deal. Before we get into the players and everything, I know that like there's a lot of like international signings. Okay, so what? You know what I mean? What does this mean? Well, let's go through like a couple of things to show what this is, because this might be part of the CBA in the future. I kind of hope not, just for specific reasons that I don't think we'll get into, but whatever. Here's a little mumbo jumbo about what international signings are and kind of the things around it. So this season and last season, the signing period began January 15th. It runs all the way through December 15th. It's the second year in a row they've started in January. This is because the deal between MLB and MLBPA in March of 2020. So yes, in March of 2020, they actually agreed to something. Dealing with international signing period during the pandemic. International bonus pools for this year. This is kind of the way that they come up with these things. The club that received the competitive balance pick in round B of the draft, which is the Cardinals, D-backs, Indians, Orioles, Padres, Pirates, Rockies, and Royals, receive a pool of $6,262,600. Basically, this is how much money you have to spend. So spend it wisely, essentially. The clubs with a competitive balance pick in round A, which are the Brewers, Marlins, Reds, Rays, Tigers, Twins, receive $5.7 million. And the base signing pool for the Angels, which is just the base, this is how much and they do cap this so that you don't, like, one team doesn't sign everyone, kind of a thing.
Right.
But the base for the Angels, Astros, A's, Braves, Cubs, Giants, Mariners, Mets, Nationals, Phillies, Rangers, Red Sox, White Sox, and the Yankees, $5.1 million. And then the Dodgers, Blue Jays actually forfeited $500,000 from their pools for signing players who had rejected qualifying offers. This is one of those things where, like, if you sign one of these guys who rejected a qualifying offer, you don't get this pick. Like, you forfeit a certain pick, and you also forfeit $500,000 of international signing money. Okay. So there you go. If I went really fast, then just back it up and listen again. That's all basically. all those people get $4.6 million after the 5. Okay. What do you got?
Yeah. Now I was just saying that was for when, the Dodgers signed Trevor Bauer and Blue Jays signed George Springer.
Yeah.
Those were the players they signed that caused them to forfeit their money.
Okay. Yeah. The
Just
teams,
starting out.
the teams are not allowed to trade international bonus slots during this signing period. So, I think that means like those competitive, like you can't trade your competitive balance pick in round B because there's international signing tied to it. I guess that's what that means. Be honest with you, I'm not real sure.
No, I think they're saying you can't take your signing pool, some of your money, and trade it so that you have more money.
Oh, right, because you can include X amount of money in. Yeah, you could say here's you also get $1 million of our. Okay, I see what
Yeah,
you're
it
saying
doesn't.
because
Yeah, you
normally you
can't.
could trade, but you can't trade it during the signing period. And right now the signing period is January 15th to December 15th. So
Yeah,
basically, you can't trade it.
right.
All right. There are some guidelines. An international player, this is for the players, is eligible to sign with a major league team between these times. He must be 16 before he signs and 17 before September 1st of the following year. So there are some guys who are 15 right now who are going to turn 16 before September 1st of this year, right? So
No, he
if you're
has to be
no, I'm
16
saying
before he.
there are guys out there right now who are currently
Oh, sure,
15 who
sure.
will be 16 before December or before September 1st who will then sign. Let's say your birthday is January 14th, or I mean July 14th, and you're 15 right now. On July 15th or 14th, you can then sign to a team.
That's all the way up till December 15th.
September
Yeah.
1st.
No, you can't turn 17, or you can't turn.
Yeah, if your birthday because it says that you have to be 17 before September 1st the following year.
Right.
So August 31st,
Right.
if you turn 17 August 31st, 2023, that means you can turn 16 on August 31st this year, 2022. If you turn 16,
You can turn 16 before December 15th. You're eligible to be signed anytime during that period, but not until you turn 16. The signing period is January 15th to December 15th.
yeah,
If you
but
turn 16 December 14th, they can sign you on December 14th.
no, they can't because you have to be 17 before September 1st of the following year. You see what I'm saying? It says
okay.
and
See where you're at now.
and be
I got you.
17 before September 1st. So you can turn
Yep.
6. So there's even guys out there right now who are 15 who are not signed but can still sign at some point by August 31st.
Yeah.
And you can still sign them.
I got you. Yep.
But then after that, it's like, well, anybody who turns 16 now will not be available until the next international signing period.
Sure. Now, if a 16-year-old all of a sudden develops into a guy you'd want to sign, you can, as long as he's going to be 17 before that September 1st. So if there's a guy out there who's 16 right now, and he hasn't been just not getting looks, and all of a sudden he just grows or something throughout the year, you can sign him anytime.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, glad we sorted that out.
Sorry, I got totally lost there for a second.
No, and that's
Sorry.
the thing. That's the weird thing about these international signings is like there are weird things. So it actually even says, dude, if we would just kept reading. In practical terms, that means players born between September 1st, 2004 and August 31st, 2005 will be eligible to sign in this signing period. So in the upcoming
could have just let you keep reading. And saved us 5 minutes.
So players also have to be registered with Major League Baseball in advance in order to be eligible to sign. So those kids that are 15 that are turning 16 would have had to have already registered for this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we know what it is, at least. These are all those players that are international. They're not going to be in the draft because they didn't come up here, and you're getting the opportunity to sign them. These are the rules around that. In here, the American players can't sign at 16, right? That's just not a way that it can happen. It can happen to these international players. So before we dig into our players, I want to play a little game called Twitter Reacts. Because as you guys can imagine, when the Pirates tweet out anything about signing players, the pseudo Pirate fans on Twitter, which I call them pseudo Pirate fans because it's like you want to be a Pirate fan, you're interested, you're engaged, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not a Pirate fan. You're not rooting for anyone.
Right.
That's just the way it goes. Like they'll wait till they're good to root for them, and that is what it is, you know. But it's fun while they're doing it because what do you think you're going to hear? So the Young Bucks account, Young Bucks Pittsburgh, they tweet out that we've signed 19 players for the current 2021-2022 international signing period. So they're making their statement. The very first comment, I'm sorry, when's the last time signings like these resulted in anything on the MLB field for the Pirates? And then brought up Luis Heredia, who was a pitcher that was supposed to be really good and never made it. And I want to shout out here to the Pirates Fan Forum podcast because Gary Morgan is basically like Starling Marte, Gregory Polanco, Rodolfo Castro, Oneil Cruz, who the Dodgers signed in this signing period. Then we got him for the Tony Watson trade. It's also brought guys like Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, Wander Franco, Fernando Tatis, Vladimir Guerrero. Like, dude, that big-time players are required at this. This is a big deal because there are, this is the potential to have some, like, legit players coming through.
I mean, and you look around the league and it's dominated by international players.
There's a lot, yeah.
There's a lot of
them. Well, the guy comes back with saying those are decent answers, but those guys are long gone. Not really. Like, they've just got traded or released, like, in the last couple of years.
And
not long gone.
Castro's still there. Cruz is still there.
And I thought that was interesting. Like, he could have said a lot more people.
Yeah.
Like, he stopped there. You could have brought up Jose Tabata. You could have, you know what I mean? Like, there were other guys that we could have brought up that have been there and have been productive. Or at least could have been. You know what I mean? You even think about guys, you know, like Elias Diaz and, you know what I mean? I mean, there's guys. But anyway, it goes to those other things that he says because he comes back in and said they're long gone. But the others you mentioned don't play in the Pirates organization. Spending money on real MLB players, anything else is cheap and silly via nutting. And it's like, okay, but that has nothing to do with this. Right? So you just get a lot of this. Bob nutting and things like that. And here's another comment. How many free agents has nutting signed for 2021-22? Same old story. Okay, but it still doesn't. I can't wait to see what prospects we get when we trade these guys away in 6 years. And then how about this one? Unfollow. That was the response. Just unfollow. And then the meme from Peter Griffin. Oh my God, who the H cares? Okay, so let's get into the specific players. I just want to get through it. To me, this is funny because these are the same answers that you get every time something happens.
Yeah.
Right? Every time. We've signed Tony Blanco Jr., which, by the way, this is one of the guys that we'll talk about. And somebody said, good signings. The guy replies, cares. You couldn't even say who cares. Like, it's just
Right.
cares.
Yeah.
How about he's going to be good for the Yankees when we trade him for peanuts in 6 years? Let's go one step further. Peanuts.
Jeez.
And then somebody tweeted about him. So this guy still thinks Neil Huntington is GM. If they went after true free agents like they do international players, we just might have a good baseball team.
What?
How about this one? Does this mean the lockout's over? How much MLB experience does Tony have? I know all players have to start somewhere, but what MLB experience does Tony bring to the team? 16 years old.
16 years old. He's not going to be playing for the Pirates this year.
I like this one. Pirates considering bringing back Polanco. What? Another prospect. Pittsburgh Prospects baseball team. And then here's one. They'll blow it. Here's another one. Here's the comments too. The Pirates have signed shortstop Yordani De Los Santos. We are going back to the World Series. Let's go. Same guy who said cares on the last one. Here's another one. Any MLB experience coming to the lineup this season, or are we going to watch another year of farm ball? Still has nothing to do with this kid signing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And then somebody say, imagine not liking this move. We've seen these moves before. Buy your 2030 season tickets. 2030, by the way, this guy went to. Buy your 2030 season tickets now. How about some actual experience joining the team?
I love that he used a clown emoji.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's actually important. Clown. And so the guy replied back, would be kind of dumb to sign a vet to a rebuild. That's okay. He's getting into some things. Doesn't have to be a vet. Someone with MLB experience. Let's say 4 to 5 years minimum in the MLB. Hey, bro, that's a vet.
Yeah.
4 to 5 years, you're a veteran already. Like you,
Absolutely.
You're in the major leagues now. Veteran doesn't mean old player, does it? Do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's somebody who's been around the game for a little bit.
I think if it's an old vet, you would say old vet.
Yeah.
Or you would say like long-term vet, or you know what I'm saying? 4 to 5 years minimum at the MLB level. At this point, I wouldn't consider it a rebuild. Rome was built faster. I
mean, we're only in year 2 of our rebuild.
Really? I mean, 1920. So this would be year. We're going in a little.
Going into year 3. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he was. 2019 was when he was brought in, right? So 2020 was Sherrington's first season.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going into year 3. Here's another one. And the moment he does well, we'll trade him. I like Los Santos GTA. They also announced the signing of a right-handed pitcher, Hung Leng Chang from Taiwan. And the very first comment on that was a gif of somebody yawning. And then somebody else tweeted, poor fella. And somebody else, #extend Reynolds. And
as true as that may be.
Yeah. And then how about this one? Pirates, when will you guys sign me? And then somebody said, when they sign Kutch. And he said, I'm better than Kutch.
Oh, wow.
Pirates Twitter. Way to go. I hope. And here's the thing. Anybody who tweeted these out, I mean, I could have named their names because it wouldn't have mattered. They're not listening.
Right.
They're not listening to us. Certainly not us, but they're also not tuning into any of these Pirates podcasts.
Right.
They're not tuned in. All right, guys, let's talk about the players. I just thought that would be fun. It was a lot more fun reading them than it was when they happened than it was right now. So I hope that for you guys, the first time hearing those things, you're rolling your eyes saying, yeah, go figure. Every time. Every time that we hear the same things, the same tired things.
Yeah.
Just, bring something new to the table. So let's start with those two guys. I don't know that we're going to read down through the list. There's a lot of them. Go check Pirates Twitter. They got the whole list there. 19 players signed by the Pirates. when this kicks off. As we said, there could be more, but basically the guys that you're trying to pick up, most of these guys, I think, find their way to be signed very quickly. I think there's some 400 and some players that were just signed. So it happens pretty quickly. Even though it goes long, it is what it is. So Yordani De Los Santos, the shortstop out of Dominican Republic, they rank these guys. MLB Pipeline ranks the international prospects. This guy was ranked number 12 on the top 50. He signed for $1.2 million. 16 years old. He'll be 17 in February. 6'1", 170. What do we know about him?
It's a bigger, he's 16 years old and he's already 6'1", so he's still could grow. So he's kind of a bigger guy. He's got a lot of pop.
Yeah. He's number 12 on the list. There's a lot of shortstops on that list too. And I think the top of the list is pretty jam-packed. It's either center field or shortstop through the top 6 guys. And there's a first baseman sprinkled in. The rest of the top 12 are shortstops and outfielders, predominantly center field. I mean, that's just what you get in the international pool a lot. So there's a lot of them. Like I said, he's number 12. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shortstops ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Highly regarded shortstops, 3 of them in the top 5, from what I've read. This dude could be really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, at 6'1", you're going to hear things like, "Oh, he'll eventually move to second or third." Yeah, well, that's what they said about Cruz too. As of right now, he's still a shortstop, but other guys have moved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how things go.
It's valid. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay right here. Jake's video on the video portion is a little bit delayed right now, so I'm just doing a little thing to try to refresh that because I know that we were just talking over top of each other. You good there?
Yep.
All right, I think we're caught up. Sorry about that.
Right.
For those of you listening to the audio, I know that seems kind of weird. For those of you watching on YouTube, you were probably like, "Hey, what the heck? You guys are talking over each other." So just wanted to get that caught up real quick. Yeah, I think it's weird because they're 16 years old. He'll be, like I said, he'll be 17. He's probably he's going to be playing in Dominican summer leagues this year. It's probably not going to be a name you're going to hear very much about for a couple of years at least. But these are still some big time dudes. These guys could end up being this could be Marte down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So an impact like that. So it is exciting. It's just hard to get too excited this early.
Sure.
So our other guy is really a topic, and it's why we started with the number 12. This guy's the number 11 overall in the top 50. Tony Blanco Jr. signed for $900,000, and he's also 16, but he'll be 17 in May, so he'll play this season at 17. He's a big dude, isn't he?
There's some questions around his size because it looks like a few places have him listed at 6'6". Some places list him at 6'5".
Yeah.
But dude is 230 to 240 pounds.
16 years old, guys.
This is a big dude.
Yeah.
So put it into perspective. Giancarlo Stanton's 6'5", 225.
Yeah.
It's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
But he's gotten some comps like Franmil Reyes for the Indians too.
Okay.
Just a big guy with power.
Yeah. Right-handed hitter, just to say. Both of these guys are righties. I know that's, I always wonder that same thing, but huge dude, hopefully huge power. That's what's projected of him. Number 11 overall, right? This is what I'm saying. The outfielders that are ahead of him are probably guys who are clearly center fielder type, I think.
Probably, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at these guys, 6'3", 180, 6'1", 209, listed as center field. The other guy was listed as an outfielder, but 5 and 6 are listed as center field. The number 8 guy's 6'3", 210, so that's a possible corner outfield guy. This Tony Blanco, they're saying left, right field, and first base. Like this, he's massive.
Yeah.
You would think he's not going to grow anymore, but
Yeah. And at 16 years old, I mean, to be 240 pounds, he could also slim down.
yeah. Yeah,
I mean, he could lose, not necessarily lose poundage, but he could slim down, gain muscle.
Yeah, I mean, certainly you got to think about. I mean, when you get to be an adult, you put on dad weight or man weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Blanco's dad had a cup of coffee with the Nats in 05, played pro ball overseas. So there's a little bit of pedigree there. A guy who had played professional baseball. So that's always good. Dude, you never know. We'll see how these guys go on the ranks.
And it actually looks like some of the things have him being faster than De Los Santos.
I did see De Los Santos speed wasn't part of his game, so to speak.
But again, at 16, he could get more.
Yeah, they say
gain that.
They say I don't know. You know how they do these things. He runs athletic though. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's uncoordinated.
Right.
He still looks good. He's just not. That's not one of his big tools. So yeah. Those two guys are the two that we're going to highlight. There is Hung Ling Chang. Like I said, they did announce him too. So he's down the list on getting the when we looked at the actual signing bonus or whatever. There's some guys that make a little more than him, but I guess he was kind of the top pitcher out of Taiwan or something. So I don't have very much on him though. But they did announce him. And they didn't announce some of the other guys surrounding him, so apparently it's a little more important. But outside of that, there's 19 names overall. We did want to kind of highlight where the Pirates stand in this. And so the top 12, we're the only team to sign 2 of the top 12. Now, I know we signed 11 and 12, meaning we didn't get one of the top 10. But like we said, there's a pool. And, we only had so much. For example, the number 2 guy, Christian Vaquero, signed with the Nationals for $4.9 million. They don't have much room to sign anyone else at that point.
Right.
Roderick Arias, which is the number 1 guy, the Yankees signed for $4 million, and the Reds, they don't know the number that Ricardo Cabrera signed out of Venezuela, but that dude's supposed to be really good. He was number 3.
Does it kind of remind you of Sherrington's draft?
A little bit.
We could have taken Marcelo Meyer, but he would have costed a lot more. So we're like, wait, we can get more guys that are top talent.
Yeah.
Just not get that top
to
guy.
Put that in perspective, of those top 50, which is, the only rankings that we're looking at right now, the next team to sign 2 players like that high is the Brewers, who signed the number 23 and number 21 and number 23 players, who were also a shortstop and an outfielder. And they actually paid more for those 2 guys than we did, because Tony Blanco only signed for $900,000. I got kids screaming behind me. You got dogs wrestling behind you. This is a great week. It's so funny. Anyway, so you're saying we got 11 and 12. The next team with 2 players on this list is 21 and 23. And then after that, it's the Cardinals, who signed the number 14 overall and the number 26 overall. So, when you look at that, you're 11 and 12. I think we did pretty well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
19 players. How does that line up? I made a spreadsheet of all the signings or whatever. Miami signed 39 players. Milwaukee, 33. LA, 31. There were 6 more teams that signed more players than the Pirates. And there were 3 other teams for a 4-team total that signed 19 players. The average number of players, though, is over 15 is the average. Over 15 players per team. So we're above that.
Yeah.
Like I said, 473 players on the list that I had. 473 players signed. There were teams with less than 10 players signed. Minnesota 9.
They're going nuts. Hold on one second. I'm just going to mute my mic.
I'll go
ahead.
ahead and read through this here. Yeah. New York Yankees, Kansas City Royals, 7 players each. Seattle, 6 players. Oakland, 4 players. The White Sox, only 3. But the interesting thing is the White Sox are on the list of having 2 players in the top 50, even though they only signed 3 players. So that's kind of interesting in that as well. Minnesota also on that list, and they signed 3 players in the top 50 and only signed a total of 9 players. So there was a lot of teams with Minnesota. The Angels, the Reds, the Twins, the Red Sox, and the Padres all signed 3 players who were ranked in the top 50. We were in the group of teams that signed 2 players in the top 50. So even then, even saying that, like Cincinnati, they got the number 3 overall guy and were able to sign 2 more guys in the top 50 while they were going through their signings. So I would say Cincinnati did pretty well here too. And they didn't sign quite 19, but it was close. Oakland and Tampa Bay are the only 2 teams not to sign a player in the top 50, and Oakland only signed 4 players. It's just not a priority for them. It's international. I mean, like, it's just not a thing. They're just like, we don't care.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, it's interesting, but it does look like they did pretty well. 19 players is, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. You don't know how many of those will end up being something or how many of them won't, but I'm telling you, international has been a focus of the Pirates in the past, and it continues to be with the new regime. So there could be a lot of good things to come out of this. Not saying it's anything you need to be like, hey, let's tell all our friends about it because we're so excited, but
right.
At least those 2 guys, Yordani De Los Santos and Tony Blanco Jr., at least something to keep an eye on. A couple years, You'll say, yeah, I remember that name. So,
yeah, I'm excited to see how they develop.
I think sometimes the
even
big tall
body
guys
wise
are, that's the thing. I think the tall guys, the big guys are always interesting. You know what I mean? They're always interesting to follow along to see what in the world is going to happen about that. So that's kind of cool. Hey, man, that's all we had today. We've run out of time now. I do want to say a Hall of Fame announcement will be made Tuesday. Kind of a big thing to pay attention to. This is a big year.
Yeah.
There's going to be some decisions to be made. Real quick, Jake, where are you at with Bonds, Clemens, these guys? Where are you at with allowing guys who have the numbers? Let's start with that. No question, Bonds has the numbers.
Yep.
Where are we at with letting these guys into the Hall of Fame as Hall of Famers? Are we done with this? Are we so far removed that we're just saying, listen, I'm okay with it? Or are we saying absolutely not?
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially for a guy like Bonds. Never really tested positive. He was in the reports, but he never actually failed a test. To me, you just can't hold that against him and, vote for him.
Yeah, to me, there's also another piece of that to say, where's your line?
Right.
Because if you set a precedence right now, there's a couple things that could happen. Mad people are going to start opening up all of the things that are wrong with the people that are already there.
Yeah.
And on top of that, our testing is so rigorous right now. If you failed a test, and that was the only time that you failed a test, but you failed one test and you served your suspension, are you now ineligible entirely? Or if this guy puts together an honest career after that moment, you know what I'm saying? Or had put in an honest career before that moment. Maybe he was aging and said, oh, I need something, you know what I mean, and made a mistake. Or he was young trying to get an edge and made a mistake and then was clean. Where do you draw the line on that? You're setting a precedence that I think is just going to be hard to continue. And what it's going to lead into is you're going to end up putting guys in and then years down the road, we're going to allow these guys in because it's so far away from reality. Oh, now that they're dead and gone, and we're all dead and gone, we're going to allow these guys in because they put up the numbers. And you're so far beyond that it's okay now.
Right.
And besides that, also, what about all those guys that in the next 10 to 20 years, we actually pull guys out of the Hall of Fame because of things that people are looking up about. Guys, I don't know. But what I do know is, what do you open up when you make that type of stand? What do you open up for the future for guys? I mean, I'm not saying Starling Marte's got a Hall of Fame career, but is he just not even considered because he failed a test?
Right.
And then do you also separate what a quote-unquote PED is versus like actual like steroid? You know what I mean? Like not just a
Right.
performance enhancer, but like apparently these guys are just straight roiding up WWF style. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like
And what do roids really even help? I mean, you still have to hit the ball. You still have to locate the pitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's arguments too where you say like, oh, he was a Hall of Famer before steroids, but the thing is like, well, we don't know when steroids
Right.
were, and were they
Right.
only to beef up over one off season and then he was clean? I'm not saying he was, but what if he was clean for the rest of it? He was just able to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just don't know. But
Yeah.
because I don't
It's
know,
tough.
I don't know that I would be able to say, like, dude, we tell a story. But the
Yeah.
numbers
And
are
they put up the
there.
numbers.
The numbers are there. I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Here's the thing. If Bonds gets in, I'm not going to riot. I'm not going to pick it. I'm not going to, you know what I'm
No.
saying? Like, it is what it is. He's either in or he's out. If you don't like it, don't go to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
That's all
you
I can
got,
say.
it's like Bonds, Clemens, Schilling.
Yeah, I was kind of
And is there
surprised
one
to see
more?
Schilling being tied to that. I don't remember that.
I think it's like their last chance.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But then you also have like Big Poppy's involved now, and there's some people saying, oh, he's guaranteed. And there are other people are saying, yeah, but he's been tied to all this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
He
oh,
actually tested positive.
did he want, yeah, okay. So
But
here we are.
it was in that early report that wasn't supposed to be leaked.
I got you. And Bonds wasn't in that one?
Bonds didn't test positive in that one.
Jeez
Bonds
Louise.
Bonds has just been in the reports of,
Like
hey,
the
this guy
Mitchell
bought
report and that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's never failed a test.
Wow.
That was
Okay.
like A-Rod failed the test on that early one and one later. He's also on this is his last year too.
A-Rod
Rodriguez.
is already?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, man, A-Rod was such a talent too.
Yeah.
And his usage started in Texas, and he was already on his way when he was with Seattle. So he's another one that was like, dude, your talent was good enough. You didn't have to do that.
Right.
When he was in Seattle, we all said he might hit 800 home runs.
Yeah.
And then he's still, man. Well, we'll see. Tuesday, they're going to make the announcement. They'll see what it is, and we can react to it next week along with the meetings tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm there. I'm kind of there to say, like, man, I don't mind. There's other guys I don't like in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that we have to be able to move past it. I think it was part of the game. I think it's part of the and I know they're in the museum. I know they're, and that's a valid argument. We shouldn't enshrine them. They're there. The story's being told, regardless of whether they're in or out, quote unquote. But I'm just saying, I don't know what I would do if I had a vote. I would have a
It's
hard
tough.
time voting. I would have a hard
So
time
hard.
writing him in. But if he gets in, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was right that they did it. I think that MLB kind of swept it under the rug because it was reviving their game. So I think there's fault everywhere. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have a vote.
Yeah, just for stuff like this. Otherwise, I'd like to, but I think it'd be fun because you don't have to vote for 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
You just vote for who you think. And it just depends. Some guys are big haul guys. Some guys are small haul guys. I don't care. It's not official. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's good. It's a great thing. We've been there. But
I've been there a couple times. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go back in it. It's not going to be like a tainted hall if Barry Bonds is in it. For me. Like I said, I told you before we hit record, we don't know who else that's already in there. Or we don't know what kind of drugs were used previously. I mean, you've heard the things about the 60s and 70s of guys taking stuff just to stay on the field.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to go back and figure out what all that is? If you took something so that you could play that day because you were too tired, that's a performance enhancer.
Yep.
And I bet they get dinged. Oh, not ibuprofen. Oh, you're saying it could have been instead of what they were saying.
Like, I'm saying like if it helps you get on, like, oh, I'm so sore today, ibuprofen and I can play.
Yeah, but that's different. I mean, they had things that actually picked you up.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's not like drinking a Red Bull. Like, you know what I mean? They were taking stuff. Right. And the thing is like, players now will get 50 games for less than what they used to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. Anyway, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No. Vote Todd Helton. Let's go.
Vote Todd Helton, huh? He's on the ballot now, right? Is he in danger of going off?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But he's trending in the right direction from everything I've heard.
There you go. That's one of your dudes, man.
It's one of my favorites.
That's cool. All right. Well, hey, looks like the Rams are finishing up the Bucs tonight, right? Is that true?
I believe so.
So Tom Brady's out. I think a lot of people are excited about that. Maybe even out. Like out. Imagine.
Yeah, that's what it. Rams win.
Rams
30-27.
So we got Rams. We got yesterday it was Bengals and 49ers somehow.
49ers. Again.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine
Aaron Rodgers is 0-4 against the 49ers in the playoffs.
If you're a Packers fan, dude. I mean, I had them winning by 2 scores for sure. That's rough.
Yeah.
Go Matt Stafford. I'm a big Matt Stafford fan. If you're not watching, how is Garoppolo still alive? Oh my gosh, the quarterbacks in these playoffs, except for him, are unreal.
Yeah.
Tonight, who do you got? I know who you got.
That's gonna be so hard.
It's not for you.
I hope the Bills win.
Yeah, that's what I figured you would say. It's either the Bills or the Kansas City, which is probably your favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC over the Bengals. But man, Joey B, if you're not watching that guy either, holy cow. He gets absolutely creamed yesterday, still puts up 350 and a great completion percentage, but I mean, I can't.
He's a stud. He's the real deal.
The Bills and the Chiefs, though, I just don't know. I don't know if that Bengals team's going to take them down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Could you imagine if they did and San Francisco also made it? Not because they're the underdogs, but like because the Bengals have only been to the Super Bowl twice, and both times they lost to San Francisco. You have to be like, seriously? This is what we have to go up against? Although, it'd probably be their best shot.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, guys. I'm out of here.
All right. Let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.